thermal sound wave. It's thermal sound waves, the natural alternative to fast food radio.
Yeah.
We hear C.Truth, Kev Lawrence.
Right.
Right about now, we got a brother that's joining us.
Right here.
Who've been doing some great things throughout the community, throughout the world, throughout the U.S., uplifting and bringing some brightness and some great things to people that could sometimes use that help and sometimes just need a little kickstart. And
definitely in a state that people don't realize is a state. When you hear Washington, you think about Washington, D.C.
Right, exactly.
You don't realize that Washington's also a state.
Washington State, it's a beautiful state too. Beautiful, beautiful place. For those that know.
The Seahawks play there.
Yeah, but other than that, it's a beautiful, beautiful state.
A lot of history.
A lot of history. But we got Brother Drayton joining us right now on the program.
Brother Drayton.
You know what I mean? He's going to tell us about some of the things that he's been doing and a little bit about himself as he joins us on the program. What's going on, bro?
Oh, I appreciate y'all, man. And definitely, like I said, with my man Kev Lawrence, man, so much history, so much love, and just appreciated being here just to support you guys as well. And y'all had me rocking out today. I was listening to the station all day in the office. had me really good. I ain't going to lie.
That's what we do.
Definitely appreciated for being here, and being able to talk to the people and then talk to you guys.
Absolutely. Now, for those who don't know of your history, just let people know a little bit about yourself.
For me, I worked for a long time with actually, I can go back. I can take it even further and shout out to Uptown Records. But that was my first little intro in. Yeah, my man Chuck Bone. And
Uptown's kicking
all those dudes. Oh, yeah. I was around during that time when Puff was there in the beginning. And, there's so many people that really, just coached me through all of that there. And it took off from me. I mean, I worked at Capitol Records with Donna Torrance and just some powerful people. All these people I'm mentioning now are like big people now. Like they're in key positions in their own business. But, I did my stint in the industry that was really good. And then I did security, man. My biggest thing, because I knew a lot of these artists, was doing security. And the security was really what a lot of people liked about everything that I did. So it was a great time. I learned a lot from it. I met some amazing people. I worked with Russell Simmons and his family for a long time, and it was just beautiful to be around, people that really cared. And what I learned from Russell was making sure that you always think about people, no matter what we was around or any time that I got to drive him or in the office, it was always about, making sure I think about people and what people are going through and how to take care of people. And,
shout out to Lord
that stuck with me a lot.
Shout out to Lord Ness. He was around Russell Simmons at that time, too.
Yes, for real talk. And shout out to Rush Philanthropy. A lot of people don't know Rush Philanthropy helped a lot of people and took care of a lot of people, man. So that's definitely where I got that from.
And I definitely have to give, I'm not going to wait to the end, but I have to give a big shout out to your sister. Yes, shout out to your sister, because your sister, Professor Jackson, was my professor in college.
Oh, yeah, Sean Jackson. Yeah.
She was my professor in college. Shout out to BMCC.
I never knew that.
Yes, she was
I never
my
knew
professor.
that. Yeah. She always was the person, and I'm happy that you said that, because she, I was always an entrepreneur. Like I used to sell, and I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and when you're in the projects and stuff like that, there's only too many things that you can do before dudes start jacking you and stuff and taking your little money and stuff. But, I always was that entrepreneur spirit. I used to sell greeting cards throughout my building and for the holidays, and earned a lot of money for those greeting cards. Those things was good. And then,
what kind of greeting cards?
Hold up, Dre. Do you, do you understand?
Greeting cards in Brownsville.
Do you understand? I want people to understand this.
Shout out to Bernadette.
The type of hustle it takes.
Bernadette. Wow.
Hold on. The type of hustle it takes to sell greeting cards.
Nobody
in
greets you in Brownsville,
Brooklyn, in the middle of the projects.
How?
Regardless of whether it's the holidays or not.
How, Sway?
What type of grit and hustle that takes, and what type of listen? I got to give it up to you for that, man.
Brownsville.
People don't understand what that is.
The home of MOP. The home of Short
I'm from Brooklyn, so I know straight what that is.
Shout out to Brownsville houses, man.
Saratoga Ave
was good. Yeah, like that was where I grew up. I mean, I got a quick story just to put it. I mean, Brownsville was so relevant. You know, you talk about Mike Tyson, and all of that. But there used to be a record store right on Pickens Avenue, man. And shout out to Big Daddy Kane. Like, Kane was probably one of the only artists, you know, because Scrap and them come from over that way as well. But Kane was like one of the only artists that ever came through that record store with the Mercedes-Benz, with everything that was out, and just really represented. So that was like a lasting memory that stuck with me so well, because that was like, for me, at being a young kid watching hip-hop, I'm like, man, that's Big Daddy Kane at that time. He was like everything, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And to come through the hood and represent the hood, it was just so beautiful. But Mike Tyson did that so many times, man.
I heard Mike Tyson used to just stop by and be like my car is yours. And he would give his cars away.
The Rolls Royce. He had the Rolls Royce right out there on Pickens Avenue or Belmont. Belmont was his spot. I don't know why, but he used to hang right there on Belmont.
Wow.
He used to park right there. And not worried about nobody.
Well, why would he?
For real.
Wow. Hold up. C.Truth, he said he sold greeting cards.
Yeah, in Brownsville, Brooklyn.
Nobody greets you over there. I mean, how are you selling that?
For me, it was something to do inside. Cause my moms wouldn't let me go outside and do anything.
Right.
So it's like, for me, it's like, it was in the building. She can trust it. I knew a lot of the neighbors. And right. I really made, like, that was my real entrepreneurial spirit. It started from that because I really made money, you know, like, on that. You know what I'm saying? And it showed me how to inventory. It showed me how to keep my money there and buy back inventory. So that was like my start. But to go back to why, like, after my sister, you know, because me and my sister was estranged for a long time. And when she and I met, that was the first thing she got on me, was like, do your business. And she helped me start my first production company and touring company. If you ever ask Dougie Fresh, Dougie Fresh will tell you, I used to get shows for Dougie Fresh, man.
Wow.
And I used to love Doug, because Doug, and he'll put everybody in that van. And no matter where I got Doug a show in Pennsylvania, I got Doug a show, Pennsylvania was mostly it, and Cincinnati, I think it was. And Doug used to just be on the road. And let me tell you this. Showtime coming, I'm like, yo, Doug, where you at? I'm like, and this is before texting and everything, so you have to call him his phone. Doug would arrive right on time. And I mean, the stage is set, people are waiting, and the promoter's looking at me like, yo, did you just play me? Like, nah, I got you. And Doug, I'm talking about, like, clean as day, come out the van, DJ on, and boom, it just was set off. And Doug, shout out to Doug, because Doug kept my family fed for about one summer, like, real. It just went on and just did shows with him. But my sister gave me that entrepreneurial spirit in doing that. So it stuck with me, you know what I'm saying, to make sure I do business the right way. Like, I call it, my motto is this: I don't do Negro business. Right. You know what I'm saying? I do business, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, us as black people, we don't want that corporate business life. You know what I'm saying? And it's just there. I remember Puff always screaming at us. Like, no matter what's, like, we was in the studio, we were doing some, Puff would just, like, always scream at us, man. Like, you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. Like, handle your business. And, you know, those things stick with you when you're growing and you trying to go to your level and do what you have to do. So shout out to all of those people that, you know, within my life gave me that stance to go further, you know?
Absolutely. It's Thermal Sound Waves. We hear C.Truth, Kev Lawrence talking to brother Drayton about the business moves that he was doing. Who were some of the other people that you had come through your touring company?
Doug was really it, because it was like, I'll give you a great example, though. I had hooked up a show, and I don't know if you guys know this back. Mona Scott was Busta's main, Violator record.
Yeah, shout out to Violator. I do know that.
Chris Lighty.
She was everything to him, pretty much.
And
Chris Lighty was the one behind it. Yeah.
And Chris Lighty. She was everything for them.
The reality show woman.
They used to give us a real opportunity, like, to really go in and do shows with this. So one time I had tried to book Busta, and I'll never forget. I had three promoters set up, and we all went in, and we was like, I got you, let's get it, Drayton. I knew people over at Violator, and I knew Mona, and it was just like, let's make it happen. And I'll never forget, man, like, another white promoter had took it, and I couldn't understand what happened. And then we come to find out that they were called something else before. It was Live Nation, but no disrespect to them, but they were called something else before, and they just blocked us. They blocked everybody. Then come to find out that this was happening around the country. They were blocking black promoters from getting our hip hop artists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that was like the one time that discouraged me, because I really, after Doug, I did like small stuff. Shout out to Teddy Ted. No, Special K and Teddy Ted, man. They used to do a lot
Awesome
of things.
too.
You're awesome too, man. I mean,
them.
I used to rent little spots and then like get them in, and they used to do they didn't care how many people was there. They acted like it was 100. So it used to give me some good space to be in. And those are the things. But I kind of moved to production where I wanted to get group signed and stuff like that. I did some deals that, if I knew, let me tell you this, I'll say this to anybody out there that don't believe credit is real, right? When I say credit, meaning your name on an album and your name in something, I was just focused on like, hey, get the deal. I don't care about that. Give me my money. I didn't care about the credit. I didn't really understand it, right? I didn't understand having your name down as executive producer or having your name down as producer mattered. I cared about, give me my point, give me my 5% or 2% publishing, give me, and I'm good, right?
Right.
But you start to realize, damn, nobody knows who the hell I am except those in the industry that did the deals with me. So, shout to anybody that's coming up in this generation, I give them a lot of credit. They get and they do. But there's a lot of us that worked in this industry that worked behind the scenes. There's a lot of us that did deals and took our check and then bounced and, did us. But, I did a lot of work in the music industry, got a lot of publishing, got, name recognition on what I needed to in the industry, but never got that credit.
Can you speak on some of those deals? Like the...
Nah, I can't. I had to sign a disclosure.
Okay. I had to ask.
Look, if I would have known what a non-disclosure was back then.
Right. Yeah.
NDA.
Look, before you decide a non-disclosure deal, look it over. Make sure it don't expand lifetime.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's. But there were some good deals. I mean, shout out to so many people that just really gave that chance. People don't know Mercury Records used to be big record label. Shout out to
they had a whole
what
lot
was the Clark Kent. Remember Clark Kent used to run that.
Yeah.
So there was so much history that went back. But I was blessed to do some good deals, bring artists to people that, they took. Some artists blew up, some artists didn't. Some were one-hit wonders, but I was a part of it. And I can always cherish with that. I'll show you the contracts one day.
Oh, yeah, you're going to. You're definitely going to. We want to see those. And we'll sign an NDA with you so we don't tell the people, though.
Yes, sir.
A 1-week NDA.
And something? I met Mona Scott way back when, before she really took off. When I used to work for a choreographer, I wasn't a dancer. I used to do administrative.
I was about to say, you was dancing.
I used to do administrative stuff for her.
Oh, okay.
But Mona Scott had an office right next door to her, and they were good friends. So that's how I met her. And then years later, it's just she took off. It's hey, that's the one who used to come by the office all the time. So, it just shows you how people really put their time in and their hustle in, and where you can go and where that could take you if you really put that work in. And she definitely did that. She definitely did that. Now, fast forward to what you got going on now, Drayton, out in Washington.
Oh man, and this is the story I'm gonna tell you guys is there's a lot of people in the industry that are going through things, right? There's a lot of people in the industry that are suffering and don't let it be seen. I was blessed at the time to have 6 beautiful daughters with my ex-wife, married, almost 14 plus years. And, a lot of things just, where I wanted to go was not the same place that my ex-wife wanted to go as far as what I wanted in life. I wanted more for it. And what it did is it took me into, once you get divorced, you go through child support, you go through everything. And I didn't know I was always a hater of fathers that didn't take care of their children. So my delusion of child support was always about not being a good father. And God knows, man, that's so untrue. So untrue, right? It's so much has nothing to do with, an actual father taking care of their children. It has to do with the court system and our racist system that's set up to oppress so many of our brothers and sisters too on that. But just it wasn't set up for success, right? And I went down this spiral road of child support that just really took me into homelessness. So I was in homelessness in New York City, but still going to events. I was still going to the Hamptons with Russell. I was still, hanging out at industry parties and, faking the funk and not being true to who I was. And when I say my condition, not who I was, but just my condition at the time. And, I was sleeping on couches and, sleeping at friends' houses and did the train and did the parks, did everything. But we'll get up the next day and hit a shower and get back out and act like everything was normal and okay. What really changed my life, real quick before I say that, I was in Brooklyn at the courthouse, the family courthouse for child support. And sure enough, I'm sitting right there, and Talib Kweli was there. Just like, yo, what the?
Wow.
Like, it blew my mind. I was like, yo, like, I didn't want to bother him or nothing. I was like, yo, really? He's like, yeah. And then, we quickly talked. It's like, damn, like, we going through it. Yeah, I didn't know what he was there for, but I was like, man, like, just going through it for child. He's like, yeah, like, it's crazy, And, shout out to him because he was just like, yo, keep your head up. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it go that way. But, back to what I was saying, what changed my life was this. I was representing .com from 30 Rock. That was my last stint in New York.
Shout out to Grizz.
.com.
Grizz
yeah.
Chapman.
Shout out to Grizz. Tracy Morgan. So many people that came from that show just really embraced me. And at the time, Astrid, who was my business partner, we just really rocked it. Like we did a lot of good things, but it was coming out of Transformers. After party. And this is probably, and I posted a picture of Michael K. Williams today. Michael K. was there, and I'm there with shrimp all over the place, free alcohol, just, phenomenal people, the industry there, directors, producers, and I'm good. I had my drinks, I had my food, and I go outside and everybody's getting into their chauffeured car. Somebody's bringing their car around, people picking them up, or they getting in a cab. And Michael K. was the last person, and he hit me up. He was like, yo, you good? And I was like, yeah, I'm good, man. Waiting for my car. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to catch a cab, one or the other. And he's like, all right, brother, yo, see you at the next one. And took off. And I didn't have no place to go. And that was the reality for me. That was like, let's stop faking. I was dressed beautiful, had shoes on. And here it was. I left this beautiful, probably a $500,000 party, and I had no place to go. And that just put me on a road of, you know what? Let's wake up. Let's deal with your reality instead of faking the funk of who you really are. And from that point on, the next day I checked into the 93rd Street, I think it is, men's shelter, and, stayed my time there to get myself together. And in that process, a lot of things was going through my head, like, where do I go? Is this my life? You know what I'm saying? I mean, in New York City, I got 6 daughters, so 40%, 45% of my income was being taken. I couldn't afford an apartment. I couldn't afford a studio apartment. Yeah. So it just was like, man, is this it? Is this what, the end of my life and what I need to do? And am I going to accept this? There's so many men that sit in the shelters. And, I want everybody to understand what homelessness is really about. It's conditions at that time. I met doctors. I met a doctor that was staying in the shelter that had student loans, but then also lost his wife. You know what I'm saying? And then when he lost his wife, her medical bills on top of the student loans, he couldn't do anything.
Wow.
He was in debt, but he was a doctor working at Mount Sinai. You know what I'm saying? And, we talked and he was just like, this is the reality of life, and you start to think that everybody is drugged out. Everybody is just, this is their condition when it's not. Their whole, people get into situations, and a lot of it, what I'm finding, is debt. And a lot of it is losing a partner that you have had for so long that gave you bait to income. So, you start to see, and especially in our country now, homelessness is on a rise. So, dramatically, it is going crazy because affordable housing is not there. We're so behind on affordable housing that I don't even think we can catch up for the next 10 years. So homelessness is going to grow to a capacity I don't think this country is really ready for.
And how do you equate that with what you're doing now in Washington State?
Well, for me, when I came out to Washington State, what shocked me, and let me tell you this, anybody that lives in a big city, anybody that lives in let me not say that. Anybody that lives in New York City, be happy on what we have. I used to look at some of the stuff New York City did, and I was just like, what the hell are we doing this for? Why is this there? And right now, I started a foundation called the Foundation for Homeless and Poverty Management. And what I saw was nobody was really doing anything. I worked on a report for Governor Jay Inslee with a committee called the Poverty Reduction Work Group. The governor asked to bring together all of the heads of each department of social services in Washington State and nonprofits that were doing work on poverty and homelessness, and bring them together and say, fix this in the next 10 years. So what we did was, instead of just them doing it, the governor said that he wanted people with lived experience. He wanted people that was on services, that was homeless, that was in poverty, that was going through it right now, to sit at the table with these people. And I had the blessed position to be as the co-chair of the steering committee for the Governor Jay Inslee's Poverty Reduction Work Group. And if you go to dismantlepoverty.org, you'll see the information there. We did some amazing work. Now, let me tell you, when you talk about what happened in our country with the pandemic, I think for us, we were like, okay, the report's going to be done. We gave the report to the governor in January of 2020, right before the pandemic happened. And all that came to all of us that worked on this was, it's not going to be seen. Like, it's done. The governor's going to concentrate on getting the country, the state back. We're not going to get any play. Lo and behold, 4 months after the pandemic hit and we had to shut down, we was one of the first states to shut down. We get a call. Lori Pinksford, who was over DHSH and over the Poverty Reduction Work Group, said, you wouldn't believe what just happened. I was like, what? They're getting ready to use our blueprint that we did in the 10-year plan to help people. So all that free flowing money and all of that came out of the 10-year plan of how do you get people back to economic strength while they're going through this, while they're not working. So the work that we did was preparing, I guess, in God's view, for what was happening, right? So the report has gotten, throughout the United States, some overseas recognition. It's a blueprint for a lot of states now to figure out how to deal with homelessness and also people living in poverty. But there's an economic blueprint to that. And the economic blueprint to that is remove barriers. Remove barriers for people that want services. I think this notion that we're welfare people and that we don't want better is such a lie and so much crap. Yeah. And I mean, when you sit back and, I don't want to, say anything against somebody else, but there are more white people on public assistance throughout this country than there is black and brown people. And I think the narrative of who we are being lazy and everything just is what is put out there, and it gives us our bias. So, when you see people that are asking for services, when you see like myself, I mean, I'm surviving. I'm not striving as much. All the stuff that I'm doing, I'm still trying to make it and trying to get over that lump to get to the next, the next part of my life where it's successful financially. But I think what we are forgetting out of this is that you have a lot of nonprofits that are community leaders that do not get pure funding to sustain. And that's the issue that you have throughout this country, especially in New York. Shout out to Mike Bloomberg. When I was around the Bloomberg administration, only a brief time, when Bloomberg started to question everybody that was getting money, and then he had a task force go out, and we opened the doors to a lot of these nonprofits that were getting money to house people, and we walked in and it was free bed.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, what is going on? So when Bloomberg, and I know a lot of people were against it, I may get back some pushback on it, but when he took the funding away from a lot of those nonprofits and said, look, you're going to have to prove to us that you're doing the work. To me, it was a great thing to do because it really shifted for the time that he was in office and the next time that he got elected, how people were being served in homelessness. And I think that it held nonprofits accountable.
Right. Now, we're running out of time. So for those who want to get more information on what it is that you're doing and that blueprint that's being used and so forth, where can people go for that?
So dismantlingpoverty.org is where you'll find the Poverty Reduction Work Group report and everything in there that we did. And then for my foundation, it's the Foundation for Homeless and Poverty Management. We're out of Washington State, Bremerton. Shout out to Bremerton and Kitsap County. And, we're doing the work. Like I tell my staff all the time, it may not be pretty now But as long as we keep our head down and keep our head up and doing the work, we're going to get our reward at the end. And it's not about profits. It's about helping people. And we've been able, let me say this right off the top. Shout out to Diana. Shout out to my wife, Naja, of course, and to Dominique. They've been putting in the work. It's a small staff, but we've served over $300,000 in back rent and rental assistance. $300,000 this small staff did in rental assistance in Washington State and our small community of Kitsap County. So I really, shout out to us. So for hitting us up, it's homelesspovertymanagement.org. You can see us there. And then definitely I'm on Instagram, Drayton D. Jackson on Instagram. And I'm not on Facebook anymore, so just too much.
Right,
too much to do for it, Definitely thank you guys for having us. And let me tell everybody, don't let your voice be quiet. The primaries, voting, you got to come out. There is a machine that is working out there that is trying to stop a lot of the progress that us in the Black and brown communities have had, and they're trying to take our narrative. Go out, vote, be a part of it. Go to your school board meetings. Go to your districts, talk to your legislators, get involved. Do not be quiet at this time.
No question. And listen, we thank you so much for taking time out,
Definitely.
for being on the program with us, bro. And we're going to have you back to talk about some more things and some other aspects of stuff, a little bit later on down the road. But definitely keep doing what you're doing. Keep up the great work out there. And, we hope to see you soon, man.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you all, everybody that's listening on Thermal. Peace.
It's Thermal Sound Waves, the natural alternative to fast food radio.
Thermal Sound Wave.